What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? Welcome back to the Opinionated Idiot YouTube channel. It is February 22nd, 2023. I want to welcome everybody into the show. I want to welcome, it's crazy, a lot of things have happened over the last couple of days. It's like I'm not saying crazy stuff here, but a lot of attention's been on the channel the last couple of days, and I appreciate all the new subscribers that have subscribed. I've picked up like 400 new subscribers in the last 3 or 4 days, and it's just been amazing. I don't know. It's really good because I've been grinding on this channel for like 2 years, and I'll be honest with you, I've changed topics many times. I've changed video, my format many times. And I just truly needed to do something that was my passion. And that was talk true crime. I've always been interested in that. I've always been interested in UFOs and the paranormal. And I was just doing the wrong thing. Obviously, I talk politics on here. I rant as well. But right now, we've been mostly focused on this true crime aspect, what's going on out there, in the world. And, everybody that's come to this channel has been super captivated by this case in Ohio. I'm sorry, Idaho. I have Ohio on my brain because I am so upset. I'm going to rant here a little bit. So deal with me for a second, and then I'll get to some of the chats here. I'm going to rant a little bit about what's going on in Ohio. I'm upset as to the response of the administration that is in power in our country right now, that our president secretly flies over to Ukraine on President's Day to hand Zelensky another $500 million, $500 million to keep funding the war in Ukraine, but cannot fly to East Palestine, Ohio, and take care of the citizens in that area that have been basically nuked and poisoned. Friends, I'll tell you, if I was a full-time YouTuber and I had the ability to travel to East Palestine to help out, I would. But I have a life, a career, and someday this is my dream to do this full-time. So again, I appreciate all of you, and I'm sorry if I offended some people here, but you're going to see how I stand here politically on things, and I don't hold back. I give my opinion, and that's what I do here on the Opinionated Idiot YouTube channel. But I don't want to get off topic. Maybe we can save this again for another night. I truly will be talking about this again. Let me pull up some of the chats here really quick. We have Hannah R in the house. She said, yo, 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 yo. What's up, Hannah? We'll give you a bell for that one there. Appreciate you jumping in the chat. We also have Teresa, and she says, sweet voice. Thank you, Teresa. I really appreciate you hanging out in the chat. So my friends, we have an action-packed show this evening. I have a couple of things that I want to get to, some topics here, and I'll find, it's interesting. It's interesting as the new subscribers have come in and the new comments on the videos. And I've been kind of experimenting on the community tab on my channel. And I want to start using that a little bit more, be a little bit more interactive with all of you. But I find it interesting. I've been asking how you all feel about the Kohberger case so far. Do you think he's guilty or innocent? Do you think someone else is involved? Do you think they have the wrong guy? And to be honest with you, I want to just give you some feedback and statistics right now. So I did a poll this afternoon, and so far, and I have a live poll up there in the chat. If you guys want to go up there and while we're watching the show, we can debate this as well too. So right now at 26 votes, 42% say guilty, 23% innocent, and 35% say they think there's another person involved that has not been caught yet. And that could be a possibility. But things that I want to squash really quick, and I'm hearing a lot about this, and I think it's just it's kind of a goofy thing. This thing about law enforcement and the FBI and the CIA and aliens and just all these weird conspiracy theories. I can't hang with that. I no way in hell do I think that law enforcement in this small college town just said, "Hey, let's go over and murder a whole bunch of people, and then we'll frame this kid that we never had any contact with, et cetera, et cetera." There's just a lot of weird conversations coming up in comments, and you're all free to do that. I read them. I try to interact as best as I can with them, but this law enforcement, I just can't get with it. I don't see it. I don't see the angle. I don't see the validity of it. I don't see any information to prove that law enforcement is involved in this. To me, it's just a conspiracy. I'm not going to jump on that. But it's interesting. It's very interesting. But I appreciate it because you're all here, and we have the freedom of speech to reach out and communicate and give those thoughts, because I find them either funny or I find them interesting. And sometimes I'll see a comment, I'll jump on that and do some research. So let me get to a little bit more of these chats really quick. Dr. Bob is in the house. Dr. Bob, how are you this evening? My main man, BC, is in the chat. He said, I can't wait to hear the BF details. I had no idea that she is in the house. Hannah said, the recent Ian connection videos have me worried if he helped Bryan. So apparently there's another gentleman that was supposedly arrested out in California that had some connection to Bryan Kohberger. I've heard this rumor myself. I don't see any hard evidence. I don't see any media reports. I don't see anything out there that would lead me to believe that this person has a connection with Kohberger. I'll be honest with you. I don't do conspiracy theories here. I know that there's a lot of channels out there that are floating a lot of information around. There's a lot of the stuff on Reddit. I try to keep to hardcore facts here on this channel. That's what you're going to get from me. Straight hardcore facts. Maybe in an article we can review it, see if there's any truth to it, any deception in it, and we can hash that out here. But the conspiracy theory stuff, I tend to kind of stay away from. But SC's in the chat. She says, I've been waiting for the details. SC, it's great to see you as well. SC is a wrench, and BC is one of my wrenches as well. So they are my main people here that are dedicated to the show. So let's get into the main part of the show this evening. So first, I got the Bethany Funke update. Also, there's been another update out there, an article I was reading today, and I don't know if you guys have heard this, but Bryan Kohberger may have access to the crime lab and video surveillance at WSU. So that is big, and we're going to talk about that in the article. Also, I want to kind of go over some information. Hannah, it's okay. It's perfectly fine. I don't get into the conspiracy theory stuff here. That's not what we do. We keep the facts straight, and I have my opinion, and that's why it's my show, and that's why I'm the opinionated idiot. But it's all good. It's all good. I was reading a Reddit post, and what I want to talk about is the people, the overwhelming response of people that think that Kohberger is innocent. Let's hash that out tonight. We're going to go over some of those details. What I want to do is pull up the timeline again. I think it's very important to read through some of that timeline. And I'm going to use the timeline from the virtual tour of 1122 King Road. You guys can find that. And I always said, if you ever go over there and check the virtual tour out, go into the closet of the house, because there's a lot of detailed information in there, photos, the affidavit, the arrest warrant, and then the person that actually put that together put an amazing timeline together. So let's go through that, because my stand on Kohberger is this: the facts in this case are very strong that Kohberger is guilty. Allegedly, he is the main suspect right now. He's the person that is arrested for this crime. And there's, in my opinion, a lot of strong evidence against him right now. So prove me wrong. I'm here to listen. The phone lines are open, 774-855-9400. You guys can call in. We can talk. We can debate. You can agree. You can disagree. But we'll go through this real quick. I got Mr. O'Brien back in the chat. Says, greetings from Florida. I think BK is involved, most likely guilty, but I think he had help. And this is a possibility. And this is an angle that people have been floating out there. And I'll be honest with you, it's been in the back of my mind as well too. But we'll get into that. So, first article I want to pull up tonight. I'm going to bring up the big widescreen from News Nation. Sources say surviving Idaho roommate never went upstairs. Let's play the Banfield video really quick. I use a lot of her material.
Stairs.
Let's see.
She left the home.
Let's back this up a little bit. I tried to play through the commercial, so it wouldn't have the commercial.
A source close to the victims' families has told me that Bethany never, ever emerged from the basement room. Like, she never came upstairs. She left the home and was outside in the chaos in the front of the house, but never did go to that second floor, never did see the carnage. She wasn't part of the discovery of the bodies. She was the only one living in the basement at that point. Dylan, the other surviving roommate, you well know now, was on the second floor, had the room across from the kitchen, opened the door, peeked out and saw who she says looked like Bryan Kohberger with the bushy eyebrows, saw that male all clad in black with a black mask walking out.
All right. So we have that here, and let's just read through some of this article really quick. Bethany Funke and Dylan Mortensen were survivors of the University of Idaho murders allegedly committed by Bryan Kohberger. Video really quick. Sorry about that. Source close to the families of the Idaho victims told News Nation that Funke was not among those who discovered the bodies. She was only living in the basement at the house and apparently never went upstairs after the killings. It's unclear where Funke currently resides, and according to our sources, she has not had any communication with the family members and of the victims. I do know this as well too. I was reading another article and they said they haven't even seen her in and around campus as well. It says no one that I've talked to, here we go here. No one that I've talked to has seen her, meaning Funke, on campus at this time. We've heard from Ethan Chapin's mother, and Ethan's siblings have gone back to campus. They're trying to move forward, but we haven't heard that Bethany is back there. Lauren Mathis, host of Hidden True Crime podcast, and told News Nation host Ashley Banfield. Earlier on in one investigation, police did state that the surviving roommate had been cooperating via interviews. However, Funke was not mentioned in the probable cause affidavit. Survivor Dylan Mortensen, whose room was on the second floor, allegedly saw and mistook the killer as a guest of at a party house, a source exclusively told Banfield. Sources spoke directly to Mortensen, who said she allegedly yelled about the noises heard during the killings because she mistook it for partying. First responders were not wearing protective footwear, a source revealed to News Nation. When first responders got there, they may have tracked snow melting chemicals into the home, potentially disrupting the retrieval of footprint evidence. Now, there's been a lot of conversation about this too. If it snowed on that evening, if it didn't snow on that evening, there was no snow. Honestly, I can't remember. I remember the after crime scene shots of the outside of King Road, and there was snow on the ground. So I don't know if there was snow prior to the night before that has already melted down. But a lot of people keep yelling at me saying, there was no snow, there was no snow. And this here is saying that there was snow melting chemicals in and around that yard. So I don't know. I can't remember. And I've tried to even go back and look at weather patterns for that time of the month or that specific evening, and I can't find anything that said that there was snow. So I know not like a crazy update on Bethany Funke, maybe not the breaking news that everybody was looking for, but that's really what's out there at the moment. What I know, I have another article here that I saw, and let me see what I got. Yeah. So this one's from the New York Post, and this one was back on January 5th. And it probably has a lot of information in it. It just basically goes through. So it says the night of the murders, police have not revealed where Funke and Mortensen were on the hours before the killings, but confirmed they got home just after 1 a.m. The four victims made their way back to the house by 2 a.m. According to the police report, unsealed and unsealed in court. Mortensen woke up at 4 a.m. after hearing voices. We already know this. She reportedly thought that she heard Gonsalves say, "There's someone here." And crying came from Canoodle's room. There's someone here. Mortensen opened the door and found a figure clad in black clothing, masked, and covered a person's mouth and nose walking towards her. We've pretty much gone over these details. So, I mean, not really the crazy update that probably everybody was looking for. But, nevertheless, it's information that's out there. It's information I wanted to report on and give back to you all. So let's look here up in the chat. So I have a poll up right now, 12 votes. Do you think Kohberger is guilty or innocent? 33% of you say yes. 0% say no. Wow. 67% think that there's someone else involved, and 0 think that you got the wrong guy. I'd love to see you guys type in the chat who you think may be the other person that's involved, or did you think there's another person involved? Think about that. Throw that in the chat. And I want to pull up, where do I want to go with this right now? Yes, Kohberger having access. Let's see. So SC says, so she was home at 1 a.m., but no one has stated what time she left the house if she didn't find the bodies with DM. Yeah, this is right. They said that she left directly out of the house. But I think you got a good point there. I think you have a good point. He could have had a driver. This is something that I've always floated around too. That's a great point. I've always floated that around too. BK does not have any friends who would be willing to do this with him. I know there was some speculation about the young man that had got shot and killed on the day when Bryan and his father were actually driving back. And when they got stopped in Indiana, his father actually mentioned, "Hey, we just left WSU. There's a SWAT team there, and someone was shot for having a gun or a rifle or something on site." And I know that a lot of people were saying that possibly they could have been working together. This kid had got shot, and Kohberger. All right, let's pull this up. Let's see here. From the Sun. Wolf in the Hen House. Am I still on the widescreen here? Perfect. All right. Wolf in the Hen House. Bryan Kohberger may have had access to crime lab with video surveillance, insider claims. The Idaho murder suspect, Bryan Kohberger, may have access to his university crime lab, which features advanced surveillance footage and a source claims. Kohberger was getting his doctorate in criminology at Washington State University before he was arrested in December over the murders of 4 fellow students. He's accused of fatally stabbing KG, MM, XK, and EC. Now, an insider at Washington State University told Fox Digital that Kohberger's formal doctoral program grants access to the crime lab database of the police body cam videos and live streams of security cameras on and off the WSU campus. That's big. I mean, if he had access to that stuff, I mean, basically can just surveil an area, see what the police movements are. He's got access to the database of the police, the police headquarters. Over 5 police departments shared body cam video with a complex social interaction CIS lab database. According to Fox source, Pullman Police Department is included in that list. Pullman's the town where WSU is located and is also about 15-minute drive from the rental home in Moscow, Idaho, where the 4 students were killed on November 13th. However, Moscow police confirmed that they did not hand over any footage to the CIS lab. Moscow police have several body and dash cam videos from victims of at least 3 house visits that were conducted before the slayings, according to the public record. To gain access to the CIS lab, students would have to apply by filling out a brief questionnaire. Kohberger, 28, never got to enter the lab, according to Phil Weiler, WSU Vice President of Marketing Communications. So, I mean, it is put out there. He could have possibly had access to the crime lab, which could be an assistance for his crime, his alleged crime. But I thought this was a really interesting thing that I wanted to pull up, put it out in the ether, and see what you guys thought about it as well, too. Let me look at some of these chats real quick. BC said, this whole time I was wrong. I read at the beginning that DM was in the basement. I'll start from scratch with the channel now. SC, you were right. My bad. Check the weather history. No snow cover. Perfect. Thank you for looking that up. Listen, we don't get every intricate detail correct. We're kind of just live chatting this from what we know of articles, the probable cause affidavit. And I understand there's a lot of people that just completely study this and have it over in their head. I screw up. I'm not perfect. I might get some details wrong, but that's why I ask you guys in the chat. Am I wrong? Am I right? It's okay. We can do that. Eric Smith says the court has determined that Kohberger is probably guilty. That's what the PCA was written to show. Beyond a reasonable doubt is what a trial is for. Absolutely. SC says that could explain how he got away for us. I'll get this, believe me. That could explain how he got away for so after terminated and no longer having access, he gets caught. Right. O'Brien says BK supposedly was involved with some creepy online groups that shared his violent, misogynist world views. Tree's saying BK was in his first semester of the program. Maybe first years were not allowed in the lab. Yeah, that's true. But maybe if he got made friends with someone there that had access, students, they befriend people. They talk to people. I know this guy was a bit of a loner, but you never know. Maybe he was, he got into a second or third year student. And you got to remember too, he was a teaching assistant too. So he may have special privileges to those specific areas in WSU. We don't know. And this maybe we're going to hear about this stuff if this goes to trial. And then BC says, I read it elsewhere, not here. So what I wanted to do also, and there's a lot of things that have been brought up, he's innocent, he didn't do this. Law enforcement is the ones that did this. I try not to go on Reddit too much, but I found a pretty good catalyst to where I'm going to go here with the next segment in my show. So let me bring up this Reddit article, and this is going to talk about guilt or innocent, and who knows? We really don't know, but it sends this piece of this article or this message to me holds some truth because it's so well written and it's interesting. So this person on Reddit wrote, my friend's husband is a defense lawyer in Washington State, but started as a public defender. He happened to answer her phone while she was in the shower this morning, and I talked to him for a few minutes. He thinks the case presented against BK and the PCA is strong, and the defense has an upheld track. And I've said that as well, too. We're going to go through the timeline a little bit this evening to support why I think this case is very strong against Kohberger at this point. So it goes on to say he thinks the case presented against the okay. So it goes on to say his DNA, quote, his DNA on the sheath, that's tough to explain away. If this was his case, he said he'd already be figuring out how to keep the cell tower information out of evidence. Now we're going to get to DM. DM's eyewitness account doesn't make or break the case. I told him some people here on Reddit have said The defense will destroy her. And he laughed. And I've kind of said that too, that credibility issue in the fact that, that 8 hours spent, like, why didn't you call law enforcement? You didn't use the restroom. Why didn't you call law enforcement when you saw a strange person in your house covered in black with a black mask on? So there's all these things that, that I think that a defense would crack down on her. He said, yeah, get the jury to think that you're a heartless asshole. There's winning strategy. Basically saying that if the defense is cracking on her, it's going to make the defense team look really bad. And that's could be possible. She has to testify to her account, put it into evidence. Whether the jury believes her or really depends on how she composes herself, she will likely be nervous and upset, making her sympathetic to the jury. Right. Now, here's the key: whether the victim's DNA turned up at his apartment, car, or some other places tied to BK. If so, it's kind of game over. And this is the biggest point that I want to get out there to everybody, because everybody in this whole innocent thing always says, well, they only have this little bit of evidence and they only have that little bit of evidence. And the sheath could have been someone else's and then it just got there. And then maybe he touched it once and this and that and this and that. The thing is, and I've said this a billion times over, if I had an echo on my microphone, a billion times over, we have not heard the full details of evidence in this case right now. There's so much more to come. You haven't even heard. They haven't processed the vehicle yet. They haven't processed. Well, they probably have. They haven't processed, or we haven't heard of processing of the evidence that they collected from his house. I think it's going to shock a lot of people. You haven't even had a full forensic DNA analysis of the data on his phone, his computers, of maybe computers he used in the lab, Wi-Fi's that he was connected to, Bluetooth devices where he might have been connected to. There's going to be an immense digital forensic DNA as well too. I mean, I've been watching the Murdoch trial, and just the forensic DNA, digital forensic DNA they have in that case has been mind-blowing. And you're going to see a lot of that in this Kohberger trial. The prosecution will have that stuff. So everybody's got to pump a little bit and realize there's a lot more to come in this case if it goes to trial. He says he's pro-gag order and thinks the 911. This is interesting too. He's pro-gag order and thinks the 911 call will be released before the June's hearing. There's probably a million FOIA requests. That's basically just to get the call itself for it. And the 911 calls are public information or public domain. Law enforcement can bleep out personal info or details they don't think the public should hear. One more thing. I asked if WSU could cooperate with the police without being compelled by a warrant. He said, in this case, yes. They can claim a law enforcement exception to FERPA and other state and federal student privacy laws. This also would allow him to disclose what could be viewed as materially important to the investigation. So this is a really well, a really well written, kind of blurb. And then he said, I love this. He told me, don't spend too much time on Reddit. So I think this is a really great kind of, a couple paragraphs here, kind of gives some different perspective of the ways to look on it. And like I said, and I've always said this, if any smidgen of DNA in that car in his house, maybe they process his clothes and finds anything of any trace of any of those people, that the 4 victims in this case are found, it's game over. I mean, it's done. It's game over. Let me get a drink of water here, and we'll get to some of these chats, and then I'll move on to the timeline. Let's see here. So BC says BTK had access to police station evidence board, the whole investigation too. I think he actually worked, for the public water department or had some access to city and town records. This is true. And you know what I do want to do is I actually found the full interview with his daughter on she did a podcast, and they were actually comparing her father to Kohberger, and I want to play that and go through that one night. I played about a 15-minute segment of it, but I did find the whole uh, podcast, so we can go through that one night. Bubbly Waters was here. He said, "Hey there, new sub, great channel. Thank you so much, Bubbly Waters. I really do appreciate it." And we got my moderators in the chat. They are welcoming in the new guests. Eric Smith says the PCA are always strong because they are used in the warrant applications, which is non-adversarial proceedings, which is more evidence both sides is come. More evidence on both sides to come. You can't conclude much. This is a great point, Eric, and I love that you said this because everybody is jumping to conclusion. I mean, to me, yeah, I've listen, I've jumped to conclusion a little bit. We have so much strong evidence in this case against Kohberger right now, and because of the gag order, we're not going to hear anything. And two, why would the prosecution, even if there wasn't a gag order, talk about what they have against this guy? In fucking poker, you don't show people your 2 cards that you have in your hand. And certainly the defense is not going to play poker like this either. So, in my opinion, they got a huge uphill battle. But I'm going to tell you, that defense attorney that Kohberger has is pretty damn good. So, this is going to be a very, 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 very interesting case. And my hope is that justice is brought in this case. And again, I've always said this as well, too. Anybody accused of a crime is always innocent until proven guilty in the court of law, and they have the right to due process. As much as I have, I don't want to say hate for what allegedly this suspect did, he still has the right to fair trial in a court of law. All right. So I want to move on to the next thing. And I remember reading a little bit below in this article, and there's something had come up about someone made a comment below here. And I don't want to search through it because it's going to take me too long. Someone made a comment in this article that supposedly the day after he returned to class, he was wearing gloves in class. Now, I scrubbed around as much as I could. I couldn't find any articles, any news source, or anybody saying it was just really Reddit stuff. But I did come across one article that did talk about back on January 1st that Kohberger was seen in a supermarket that was actually followed, I believe, either by an undercover cop or a police officer. And it goes into he wore gloves in a grocery store weeks after. So the criminology student accused of slaying the 4 University of Idaho students had stalked his alleged victims before November murders and wore gloves in a supermarket weeks after, according to a new report. So if this report is true, okay, and for everybody out there that's like he's innocent, well, I don't know too many people that just casually walk around wearing gloves. I mean, that to me is you're trying to hide something. Now, there wasn't reports that he was wearing them in school, but this is interesting that there was a report that he was wearing them, outside. Cell phone data shows Bryan Kohberger, 28, was often in the same location as the 3 sorority sisters and had one of their boyfriends before he allegedly slashed them to death as they apparently slept in an off-campus house, source close to Kohberger also seemed to be careful about not leaving fingerprints in public, even as he fled to his native state of Pennsylvania in the recent days. The anonymous source told the outlet Sunday, "He's not stupid, and he's been very careful," said the source, who claimed to be good friends with one of the cops who surveilled the murder suspect in the days before the arrest. He followed him into a Giant, that's a Pennsylvania grocery store chain, and he said he wore gloves the entire time. The source reportedly said to the investigator, "Pal." Now, if this is true, and this article is true, we may see if it goes to trial, if there's any video of that supermarket. They pull that up, they show him, he's in the supermarket wearing gloves. That could be useful. Not sure if they ever interacted, but his cell phone pings forwarded every move for weeks. The source reportedly said Kohberger allegedly was stalking. So that's something I kind of wanted to throw out there as well. BC says, great point, ES. Wait until the other 95% of the prosecution evidence comes out. Absolutely. SC says his student said he wore an Apple Watch. It tracks your activity even if your phone is off. The heart time would be interesting to look at if he was wearing it. That's a really great, interesting point. Wow. That would be something to see the, you know, the heart rate at that time. O'Brien thinks it's a great point. That is a great point. All right. So guys, let's go through the timeline again. You guys want to go through the timeline? I would love to look at it again. So we'll do that. Eric Smith says, and until 100% of Kohberger's evidence comes out. And then BC says, remember, after witnesses are usually FOS. All right, let's pull up this timeline again and go through it. And this is why I think the evidence in this case is very, very strong against Kohberger. So if you haven't gone over and seen this, you guys can review it. You just basically can just Google virtual tour of 112 King Road, Moscow, Idaho. And they have this timeline up there. And this is very, very detailed. I wish I could, I don't know if I can zoom in on this to make it a little larger. I don't think it has, oh, wait, I can. Da-da-da-da. Awesome. Let's bring this up. Is that a little better for you guys? Little bigger? Let me know, because I can bring it up a little wider here. Oh, what did I do? All right, I think maybe 125 is going to be good. So I can, my blind ass, and I have no, isn't that great? I have no lenses in my glasses. It's all for the show. All right, let's go through this timeline. So on 5/21/2022, Bryan Kohberger graduates from DeSales University. On 6/5/22, victims begin their lease at 1122 King Road. 6/23, and this is where it starts getting interesting. And the first kind of interesting part of this, 6/23/22, Kohberger opens a cell phone account with AT&T in his own name and registers to Albrights, Pennsylvania. 8/1/22, Bryan Kohberger moves to Pullman, Washington. On 8/16, this is great. I love all this time too, the timelines. 8/16/22, 5:30 p.m. Officers at 112 King Road for noise. So that was the first noise complaint. On 8/21, at between 10:34 and 11:35. Now this is very interesting. Bryan Kohberger's phone utilizes cell resources at the King Road residence. So he was in and around that area. Why? I mean, this is only 2 months, barely 2 months. Why is he there? And then 11:37, Latah County Sheriff's Deputy CPL Duke pulls over the 2015 white Hyundai Elantra with a Pennsylvania plate. Ah, damn it. I'm not going to be able to do this widescreen. I don't know if you guys can see it still. Pulls over the white Elantra with Pennsylvania plate set to expire on 11/30/2022, being driven by Bryan Kohberger. So we got cell phone data that has already pinged. We already have him pulled over in the area. We already have him in the white Hyundai Elantra. We already have the Pennsylvania license plate. You kind of see where I'm going with this? All right, 8/23, first day of class For 3 courses at WSU, Bryan Kohberger was a teaching assistant for. On 9/1, noise complaint at 1122 King Road. On 9/2, noise complaint at 1122 King Road. Fall, and this is where the timeline kind of slips a little bit. BK applied for an internship with the Pullman Police Department. On 10/12/22 at 7 p.m., Moscow Film Society and University of Idaho Film and Television Department present Scream. 10:14, unrelated time. WSU police officer pulls over the 2015 white Hyundai Elantra with Pennsylvania plate being driven by Bryan Kohberger. And you can see here to the right hand of the order, this kind of spreadsheet, there's, where's all this information? PCA. So the morning of 11/11, Kaylee buys her white Range Rover and heads to Moscow for a party to show off her car. And that's WSU Parents Weekend Day 1, 5 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Veterans Apprentice Dinner at 2022 at the ICCU Arena at the main campus. That night, Kaylee is Dylan's +1. 11/12, WSU Parents Weekend number 2, day number 2, 12:30 p.m., WSU State, Arizona. We'll get through all of this. Let's see. At 8:40 p.m., Ethan makes a Venmo payment, final activity to Jack K with a note that says, thanks. At 9 p.m. to 1:45 a.m., Bethany Funke observes Ethan and Xana at the Sigma Chi house on 735 Pierce Drive. 10 p.m. to 1:30 a.m., Kaylee and Madison are observed on CCTV footage outside the Corner Club at 202 North Main. That's in the PCA as well. 10:04 p.m. to 10:16 p.m., the 2 officers on Deacon Ave with a male and female that were walking issued a MIC citation to the female. 10:15 p.m., Kaylee and Madison are picked up from their house by a private party driver. Excuse me, I'm going to sip of water here. Everybody still with me out there? Give me a thumbs up. Anybody wants to chat, butt in, please chat. Phone lines are open, 774-855-9400. So now we jump to, let's see, 11/13/22, WSU Parents Weekend, day 3, final day. At 12 a.m., Xana speaks to her father, Jeffrey, for the last time, and he states that she told him she was hanging out at home with her boyfriend. At 1:30 a.m., Kaylee and Madison seen on a Twitch live stream at the Grub Truck, 318 South Main Street. God, that video, people were breaking that video left and right. Who's that? Who's the guy with the hood? Who is this person there? Where did that guy turn? That was a crazy video. I remember that. There was a lot of conspiracies that came out of that video. 1:45 a.m., Bethany Funke estimates that Ethan and Xana returned to the King Road residence. So now we're building to the timeline. 1:56 a.m., private party reported that he dropped off Kaylee and Madison at their King Road residence, same private party that picked them up earlier. So it was the same driver. 2 a.m., both Dylan and Beth make statements during interviews that indicated the occupants of King Road were all home at this time. So everybody that lived there was home at this time. 2:26 a.m., Kaylee's first call to her ex-boyfriend, Jack D. Now we're going to go to 2:42 a.m. BK's phone using cellular resources at his residence in Pullman, Washington, ping. That's in the PCA. Kaylee makes 4 additional calls to her ex-boyfriend, Jack, for a total of 5. And that's about that same time. 2:44 a.m. White sedan, consistent with description of white Hyundai Elantra, known as Suspects Vehicle 1, observed in WSU CCC TV traveling north on Southeast Nevada Street in North Stadium Way. 2:44 a.m. Kaylee calls ex-boyfriend Jack D a sixth time. Madison tries also to call Jack D twice. At 2:45 to 3:15 a.m., white, light-colored sedan seen on CC TV traveling west on Taylor Avenue towards crime scene. Per landlord, this looks like Kane. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name. French. Let's get to this chat real quick. I just got to wait for it to come up in my chat, and then I can pull it up, SC. All right, let's see. So the closest tower to the house covers 27 or so miles, which could ping miles away. Is it even credible at this point since it can't pinpoint an exact location? So here's the thing, and I'm glad that you brought that up. If you've watched any of the Murdaugh trial, there's I don't know if it's a program or device that they use that they can actually load in cell phone data to it and ping cell phone locations by the feet. They had Murdaugh literally pinging all his footsteps of where he walked that night on his property. You're going to see that in this case, I am sure. And I can't recall what the software is, but I saw this on another podcast, and it is confirmed. It is something that the law enforcement can use. And I believe the FBI uses it, law enforcement uses it, CIA uses it. It's either a software or a device that they load this information into, and they can literally get it down to GPS coordinates by degrees, seconds, feet, time. It's insane. And I'm going to tell you, you're going to see a lot of that in this case. Okay, so now we're at 2:47 a.m. BK's phone using cellular resource southeast of BK's residence, consistent with phone leaving and traveling south through Pullman, Washington. That's in the PCA. The phone stops reporting to the network, consistent with either a phone being in the area with no cell coverage, connection to a network is disabled, airplane mode, or phone is turned off. The two officers are in plain clothes in an unmarked police car in a parking lot on West Taylor Avenue when they observe three males walking towards the band field. That's at 2:50. 2:52 a.m. Madison and Kaylee both attempt a final call to Jack D for a total of 10 calls between them both. Would you say they were pretty intoxicated? I'd probably say. Sounds like some drunk calls. SC, she says, wow, I didn't even know that. I'd love to see that. Yeah, I'm gonna research and find out what that actually the name of the program is. We can talk about that. There's video out there. If you search the like Murdaugh, Law and Crime Network, I think had it up there because they're doing clips of the trial, and they cut out that section. It's about a 26 to a 40-minute video, I think, from what I remember. And it literally, they show every little step in his cell phone data where he actually was. It's amazing. So back to the timeline here. Let's see. 2:53 a.m. Suspect's vehicle 1 is observed traveling southeast on Nevada Street in Pullman, Washington, towards SR 270, which connects Pullman, Washington to Moscow, Idaho. 3:53 a.m. to 5 a.m. BK's phone does not use cellular tower resources in close proximity to the King Road residence. 3:01. The two officers make contact with three males, issue all three males MCI citations. At 3:26 a.m., a white sedan, suspect vehicle 1, was seen traveling westbound in the 700 block of Indian Hills Drive. That's in the PCA. 3:28, suspect vehicle 1 is seen traveling westbound on Steiner Avenue in Ohio State. I mean, do you see kind of what's happening here for the people that think that this is, that the evidence is not strong. Let's see, 3:29 a.m. to 4:20 a.m. Multiple sightings of suspect vehicle 1 making 3 passes by the 1122 King Road residents when leaving via Walnetta Drive. And I'll tell you, it says multiple sightings. So I don't know if that's video evidence. It could be a human that saw this vehicle. We're going to see that witness, if it is a witness, during the trial. Both officers at 3:32 a.m. Both officers leave the area of 701 West Taylor Avenue. So let's pull some of these chats up real quick. She said, "Wow, I didn't even know that. I'd love to see it." BC says, "The cell phone accuracy blew my mind when I seen it." So, you watched the trial. You watched that portion of the trial. It's crazy. Eric Smith says the evidence is not as strong as one might think. The PCA did not describe the body source of the DNA, the lightning in DM's hallway, or timeline consistent with the surveillance footage. Eric, I'm just going to urge caution in this again. You haven't even seen 95% of the other evidence in this case. You won't hear it until it goes to trial. My opinion, because I'm the opinionated idiot, the evidence is very strong in this case. I beg to differ. At 4 a.m., both Dylan and Bethany made statements during interviews that all occupants of the home, with the exceptions of Xana, were asleep or at least in their rooms. So this doesn't make sense to me. If everybody's home in their rooms, why would you think there's a party going on? Because all the body cam footage that I've seen, kids were running I sound like an old person, amok in the house. This to me would seem that things are very quiet in the house that evening. And I've always said that all along. This didn't seem like a party night, and that's why I've had issues with the statements that have been made. 4 a.m., 4:25 a.m. Time frame of the investigation believed that the homicides occurred. It's 33 people watching. Do me a huge favor, just the other 15 of you. Please hit the upvote button. Let's get this stream out into the algorithm. Also, what I'm going to do too, and I just want to let you guys know this, once I do a live stream, I'm going to download it and then re-upload it for all of you guys. So you can either go back and rewatch it, or when it launches again, if you guys can interact on that, that'll help as well too. And then I may just do certain kind of clips in between and clip all those out like segments and send those out as well too. Just something very easy. Jeff Lane has upvoted. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it. Let me get up some of these. Chris Pepper says we should hear more at the probable cause hearing. I don't think we have to wait all the way to the trial, right? Yeah, you may hear some things there in the probable cause case. Absolutely. We're going to hear more details as well. You may hear just more of an elaborate version of the PCA, but I'm pretty sure that the prosecution during that is, again, they're not going to play poker like this with their hands out, because if they know they go to trial, they're not going to want everything out there. But that is a fair point. She says that part makes no sense. If everyone just got home from being out, how do you assume there's a party all of a sudden? And this is what I've had problems with. And this is a really great point that you're bringing up, SC. To me, when I hear how the evening was going, to me it sounded like everybody was winding down, everybody was in their room, everybody was getting ready to go. It's fucking 4 a.m. I get it, college kids party, they party into the night, but it's, to me it sounded like everybody's winding down. So I almost think, honestly, that night it was like quiet as a church mouse around there. Jeff Lane's upvoted. Thank you so much. O'Brien says, I think the cops may have used something called Stingray surveillance technology. Let's look that up real quick. Stingray. Stingray surveillance device. Stingray, also known as cell site simulators or IMS catchers, are invasive cell phone surveillance devices that mimic cell phone towers and send out signals to trick cell phones in an area into transmitting their location and identifying information. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know if it was quite that, but it's something that they can preload information into and get more of, specific areas where things are. Chris Pepper says he's updated, says makes sense. Eric says we can judge only the evidence we've seen. Yeah, I completely agree. I appreciate your candor response on that. You don't think that there's enough evidence, that it's not strong. And I love those opinions over here, because this is what it's about, to have those discussions back and forth. SC says, being a college student who goes out, when my friends and I get home from going out, the only thing we're doing is eating pizza and going to sleep. I myself have been through those days in my younger years. At 4 o'clock in the AM, after probably being out, I mean, they were out partying. You come home, there's no one else in the house at that point. So how the hell do you know? This is what, it doesn't make any sense, thinking that there's all this, bunch of people. And I'm sure, getting a feel for that house and being in there, you probably would have a good judgment of how many people are in the house. Even if you're downstairs, holy shit, there's a lot of people upstairs. They're screaming, they're yelling, they're partying. I mean, to me, I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice. It sounds just, it was a very quiet night. And that's why I've had some problems with these statements. Dr. Bob also saying she's referring to the thud and noises upstairs. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You're wrestling someone around, you're pushing someone around on the ground, someone's fighting back. Of course, you're going to hear those noises, and quite possibly, maybe she did think it was a party, but I don't know. To me, it's just, I've had some issues with that. So 4 a.m. to 4:25, the time frame the investigators believe the homicides occurred. 4 a.m. Xana receives a DoorDash delivery at the residence. 4 a.m. Dylan was sleeping in her second floor bedroom when she awoke by what she states sounds like Kaylee playing with her dog in one of the upstairs third floor bedrooms. So if you think there's a party going on, but then you think that someone's just playing with their dog. Okay. With that software, would it be possible to see if BK and Kaylee have ever been in the same room before the crime? I'm not sure, but I talked about Bluetooth connecting, Wi-Fi connecting. If he's been in and around that house, if his phone pinged, I mean, I can walk outside, have my Bluetooth on, or even my Wi-Fi just on my phone, and it's constantly trying to connect me to a device out there. I mean, I could probably step outside and it's going to probably try to connect to 20, 30 different devices. If it's doing that, what that's actually doing is sending out a radio signal to those devices. That's how that all works. So if his phone is on and it's around that area, they could have pings of him trying to connect, even just to neighbors' houses, any Wi-Fi, any Bluetooth. So I've thrown that out there as well too. Lee checks in. She says, the facts are 4 people were murdered brutally and blood everywhere and their bodies were chopped up. How do you think that's a party? That's a very good point. Well said, LS. I don't get it. Initially, there isn't going to be a lot of blood. Juniper checking in. I got 32 people watching. Can we just get me to 30 upvotes? Just 30 upvotes. We're at 23 right now. 30 would be amazing. So we're going to keep moving on here. So at 4 a.m., Dylan is sleeping in second. We'll start here again. Sleeping in her second floor bedroom when she awoke by what she states sounds like Kaylee playing with her dog in one of the upstairs third floor bedrooms. Short time later, Dylan hears who she thought was Kaylee say something to the effect of, "There's someone here. There's someone here." Dylan looks out of her bedroom and didn't see anything. 4:04 a.m. Suspect vehicle 1 seen driving eastbound on King Road stops and turns around in front of 500 Queen Road, number 52, then drives back eastbound on King Road. Suspect vehicle 1 appears to unsuccessfully, I have to laugh a little bit, attempt to park and turn around in the front of 1122 King Road, then continues to the intersection of Queen Road and King Road, where it can be seen completing a 95-point turn. No, I'm sorry, a 3-point turn, then drives eastbound again on Queen Road. I wonder if that's him contemplating, am I going to do it? Am I not going to do it? Am I going to do it? I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to do it. 4:12 a.m. forensic download of Xana's phone showed. See, and this is what people have to understand too. You know, the cell phone data is going to be downloaded. His cell phone data is going to be downloaded. The forensics are going to be of these phones of these individuals. The forensics of his phones are going to be downloaded. We haven't even seen any of this stuff in the case yet. Forensic download of Xana's phone showed she was likely awake and using TikTok. Dylan opens her door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Xana's room. Then she heard a male voice say something to the effect, "It's okay. I'm going to help you. It's okay. I'm going to help you." Dylan opens her door for a third time after she hears crying and saw a figure walking towards her in black clothing, a mask that covers the person's mouth and nose. And that's what I said, you know, the mask like this, and it shows like that, kind of like a, you know, maybe a ski mask and you would pull goggles down, or I know motorcycle riders wear them, you know, they'll put them on when they're riding the cold and they put their helmet on and it gives them this view. Someone was asking about that in the comments. She describes the figure as 5'10" or taller, male, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. Let me pull up some of these chats really quick. Let's see. Wow, I missed a lot. I'm sorry, guys. Dr. Bob checking in says the dog was upstairs, right room alone with the two girls were together in the left room. SC says, I think she's backtracking in case the family tries to sue. Chris is checking in, says, I think there's got to be 3 people involved with this timeline. What 3 people do you think? Lee says, I've been told for safety on our phones that we need to turn off Wi-Fi when leaving our home. It's absolutely, it will try to connect and ping at all time. There's a lot of blood and there's a lot of blood because 2 of the 4 fought for their lives. Chris says there's someone here. Could have just been someone saying the Uber delivery or the Uber Eats delivery. BC says, I think the 3-point turn was where I'm hiding my car. When you receive DoorDash, they send a picture. I wonder if that would be an evidence to show where exactly. It's a great point too, SC. The food was left, and if they could have seen the door and see the DoorDash guy, Lee said, we go by them saying that they entered through the sliding door. The sliding door is loud. That's probably when someone is someone here? Someone came in. It's been confirmed that's where the entry was. All right, let's keep going through this. Okay, so it describes the figure as 5'10" or taller male, not very muscular, but athletically built. Sorry about that, with bushy eyebrows. The male walks past Dylan and stood in a frozen shock phase, and he walked towards the back sliding glass door. Dylan locks herself in her room. Again, I just have so many questions, and this bothers me. The ifs, the ifs, the ifs, the ifs, the ifs. Someone you never saw, someone that's in black, someone that scared you, someone that's, why aren't you calling a friend? Why aren't you calling the police? Why aren't you calling your roommates? Security camera at 1112 King Road picked up a distorted audio and voices or whimpers, followed by the loud thud. A dog could, also be heard barking numerous times. At 4:20 a.m., suspect vehicle 1 seen departing the area of King Road residents at a high rate of speed. I don't know why that people keep saying that the evidence is not strong against Kohberger right now. It's super strong. Super, super strong. Suspect vehicle 1 then travels southbound on Winona Drive, likely exiting the neighborhood. So you're saying that, let's just say this. So these 4 roommates get killed on this night, and Bryan Kohberger, that had supposedly no connection to any of these people, just casually drove her over to the King Road Revens and, did a couple 3-point turns and hung out for about 16 minutes and then just drove away in the direction of that house, just, hanging out, driving by, seeing everybody. To me, it just doesn't make sense. He was there for a specific person. He was there for a specific reason. The evidence is very strong. Suspect vehicle 1 then travels southbound on Winona Drive, likely to exit the neighborhood. BK phone using cellular resources in the area of Idaho State Highway 95. And then why is it that he would take a 15-minute drive there, but almost an hour drive back? BK's phone using resources consistent with traveling southbound. And then this is the long journey back to school. I'm not going to keep reading through too much here. And then we get to the morning. So this is what's very interesting too. So we're going to start at sunrise. So at 5:30 a.m., BK's phone starts using cellular resources provided coverage in Pullman, Washington. So he's basically back at his residence. 6:47, you have sunrise. 9 a.m. 9 a.m. BK's phone utilizing cell resources that are consistent with the phone leaving his residence and traveling towards Moscow. He went back in that direction of King Road. 9:12, 9:21, BK's phone utilizing cell resources that would provide coverage to King Road residents. So he's in and around that area. Let's just not even say he's at the residence, but he's in and around that area. And whatever the cell phone tower coverage is in around that area, he was there. He was back there again. This is where I think he fucking freaked out when he knew the sheath was gone. He allegedly freaked out. He allegedly knew the sheath was gone. And went back to either retrieve it or see what the hell was going on. Like they say in arsonists, when arsonists create a lot of crimes and they burn down houses. If it's a multiple arsonist, police when they find connections in fires, they will tend to go out with a video camera or and watch the people that are in that area. Most of the time, an arsonist will come back and watch their work. This, to me, is showing that maybe he went back there for a specific reason, to see what was going on, to collect the sheath, allegedly. Let's see. At 9:32 a.m., BK's phone arrives back at his residence. Beth and Dylan summonsed friends to the home because they believed one of the second floor victims had passed out and was not waking up. At 11:56 a.m., 911 is is placed from inside the residence using either Bethany or Dylan's phone, requesting aid, unconscious person, and dispatch spoke with multiple individuals. Multiple people at that fucking residence before the police got there. Officers respond to 112 King Road, unconscious person. BK's phone utilized the cell at 12:36 p.m. BK phone utilized the cell resource and provide coverage to Kate's Cup of Joe coffee stand in Clark's, Washington. Surveillance coverage from SC Chief store located at Clark's, Washington, adjacent to coffee shop showed the White Elantra consisted. Let's see. Sheriff arrived. Text goes out. 4:30 p.m. Sheriff arrived at Gonsalves' house to notify them that Kaylee was deceased and that there were 4 victims. Latah County Coroner Kathy Mother arrives at the scene. So it just kind of goes on. And then that day, 5:36 p.m., 8:30 p.m., BK phone stopped reporting to the network. Yeah, there's a lot here to keep going through, and obviously we know what happened from there. But I just wanted to go over those kind of details of leading up to the night, what happened in that night. And to me, again, there's just so much evidence is very, very strong. Let's see here. Let's actually go through this really quick. 11/14/22, BK phone connects to cell phone tower that provides service to Moscow, Idaho, but investigators don't believe that BK's phone was used in Moscow on this date. It had not connected to any towers provided service to Moscow since this date. In-person online classes canceled. 11/17, autopsies performed on 4 victims. 11/18, BK registers the white Hyundai Elantra with Washington and later receives Washington plate. Detective sees the contents of 3 dumpsters on King Road to locate possible evidence. Moscow police put out map of area of interest to collect video footage. I got 40 people watching right now. If we can just get to 30 likes, guys, come on, 3 more likes. That's all I need. Let's get it to 40. Screw that. Let's get it to 40. I want to appreciate all the new watchers coming in this evening, all the new people that possibly could have subscribed during this stream. I appreciate all the support here of these chatters, my wrenches, my moderators that come in and hang out here. Let's do this. Dr. Bob, you've been here. Welcome to the team, my friend. Give Bob a wrench. Thank you, Dr. Bob. Appreciate your support and appreciate it. All right, let's read through a little bit more, and then we're going to tidy this one up maybe in about 15 minutes or so. So BK registers the 2015 white Elantra in Washington, later receives the Washington plate. Detective sees the contents of the dumpsters. We've already gone through that. Moscow police put out a map of the area of interest to collect video footage. That's on the 19th. Police evaluate tread marks in front of the King Road residence for the first time. At 11/21, we had the memorial service for Ethan. Police expand the crime scene. 11/25, MPD put a be on the lookout to all area law enforcement agents for a white Hyundai Elantra in that area. And as we know at that time, this is what the thing that started getting really talked about. Where's this white Hyundai Elantra? Where's this white Hyundai Elantra? Investigators and FBI behavioral analyst unit returned to the home after a crime scene had been untouched for days. After searching inside the house, one investigator left with several small bags in his hand. There's more evidence that we haven't even heard about yet. WSU police officer on the 29th queries the white Hyundai Elantra registered with Washington State University, locates the 2015 Hyundai Elantra with the PA plate, registered to Bryan Kohberger, resides In Pullman, Washington, another officer looking for the white Hummer Elantra. Police tow away 5 vehicles that have remained in front of the crime scene since 11/13 for further processing and evidence gathering. See, that's the thing that people have to look at too. All of this stuff, has it been touched? Has it been bumped into? Was something left? A fiber, a hair? There's so many other pieces of evidence in this case or other articles that are going to be tested for evidence. I mean, as I sit right in here right now, just going like this, I'm shedding DNA. I'm literally shedding skin cells. Love the chat, guys. Really great stuff. Love the community. It's all about the community. It's all about you guys. Let's pull this up real quick. B says, it makes no sense. Ethan could not have been in the hallway and not seen. Leah says, Juniper, now that the eyebrows have been pointed out, I'm looking at the guy that have bushy eyebrows. I'm looking at guys that have bushy eyebrows now. Chris says, I don't get why he gains by throwing trash away in a neighbor's garbage. It's going to be in the same area of the small landfill. I think it would have been more odd if he was driving his trash to somewhere else. Absolutely. And that's something that I wanted to talk about too. Listen, if you're not guilty of a crime, you haven't done anything, why the fuck are you out in your house at 2, 3, 4 a.m. cleaning down your vehicle and then throwing all your trash out in your neighbor's receptacle? I mean, come on. It's just like you're trying to hide something. Oh wait, you're smart enough and you thought like the police were there, so you're pranking them, you're playing up on it. I don't see that. You're hiding something. You're hiding something. 40 people, guys. I just need like 8 more votes to get us to 40. All right. On the 2nd, BK gets his hair cut at his regular barber shop. Private security company is now guarding the crime scene on the 3rd. On the 7th, police asked for public's help in location of the driver of the white Hyundai Elantra. Chief James Fry and other members of the Moscow PD collect and remove victims' personal belongings so their items can be returned to their families. They were loaded in a U-Haul truck driven by Chief Fry and transferred to the secure location until families can collect the belongings. These arrangements were made in coordination with the families. Oh, man, that's horrifying. 12/13, White Hummer Elantra captured the license plate reader in Loma, Colorado. On the 14th of December, Pullman police called an apartment on the 1000 block of Latah Street for a weapons offense where a man reportedly threatened to kill his roommates in the apartment. Now, this is where the timeline kind of skews a little bit, and this is where people have said that they think maybe possibly this person could have been involved. I don't know. Maybe we hear more about this. Then this person was, I believe, ultimately shot and killed. White Hummer Elantra is quarried by Hancock County Sheriff Department, Indiana. That's where we saw the two pullovers. BK's second traffic stop in Indiana. Autopsy for Ethan Chapman complete. Surveillance video shows BK Elantra in Allsbright, Pennsylvania, with only one occupant and whose description was consistent with BK. Do you guys think he talked to his dad? It's a long drive. It's a long drive from PA. Hey, Dad, I'm in some shit. I did something. Can you help me? What should we do? Where do I go? Or do you think he just stayed silent? Let me pull this chat up. Leah says this channel will grow. Thank you so much, Leah. And it has been growing. I'll be honest with you. I mean, it's nice to see consistently 40 people here in the chat this evening. The live shows have been growing. The the subscriptions have been growing. It's been a lot of fun. And I'll be honest with you, this is the enjoyment that I get out of this in doing this, just spending time with all of you, knowing that we're all interested in this particular subject, because it has gripped all of us, and we want to know, and we want justice for the victims in this case. It's sad. These kids didn't know this was coming. They were like sitting ducks in that house. And we're going to find out if Bryan Kohberger did this or he didn't. But if he didn't do it, I'm going to continue to cover this case until they find someone that did do this. If it's not Bryan Kohberger, I think attention still needs to be brought to this case. And we're going to talk about it all the way up until June. But these kids were innocent. They didn't deserve this. Susie says, I think his dad knows. Chris says, I think he told his dad. Leah says, I think you're great, opinionated. Thank you so much. O'Brien also thinks that he told his dad. Parents know what their children do. I keep getting your channel recommended, so I subscribe today. Thank you, Chris. I really appreciate your subscription. Susie says, yes, they do. And SC says, the way he looked at his dad when police were asking questions, his dad knew. He was scared that his dad was talking too much. I got that vibe too. And Susie said she's subscribed today as well. Thank you. I don't think that there's enough evidence on Bryan. I just don't think there's enough evidence on Bryan. Interesting. Susie said she subscribed today too. Thank you. Juniper says, I think Bryan told his dad that Kopaka did it. That's why his dad talked about Kopaka on the track. That's a great point. Maybe he did. That's a good point. Maybe to throw everything off, It's going to take till June to research this crazy stuff. Good point, Juniper. But I love hearing both sides of the stories here. People think that he's innocent. People think that he's guilty. People think they have the wrong person. But this is what makes this, this is what, I don't want to say fun, but it makes us all think. Maybe we have something that we discuss here swings someone a different way, has a different thought about it, or has a different theory. That's why I like discussing all this stuff with all of you. Or his dad and him did that to throw off and pinpoint someone else. That's a great point too, SC. I know we're all chomping at the bit. The things that we're chomping at, especially here as a YouTuber, we want to hear the 911 calls. We want to see the interrogation videos if those are ever going to get released. And that's really what we're chomping at the bit. O'Brien says, do you think that BK's attorney will motion for a change of venue? I think that's going to happen because, right now, I think the thing that really hurt this case right now is that the Dateline story. I mean, that went out nationwide. That went out worldwide. That could swing a jury. So I think that, even just for protection purposes, maybe they commission something to bring this out into a different area or a different venue. That's really a great point. I think he's framed, but knows the people who did it. That's how his DNA got on the sheath. Okay, fair point, Chris. And Leah says, yes, Susie, I think we will be mind blown. I think this is going to blow everybody's minds when this comes over. And it could, maybe the dude is innocent. I don't know, but right now, the way that I feel in this is just my personal opinion. The evidence is very strong. Chris has his opinion. I respect it. SC has her. BC has his. Leah has hers. That's why we do this. This is good. It's great to do this stuff. And she says, Leah thinks he's framed as well. That's the reasonable doubt. And we'll find out. Okay. 43 people, guys. I just need a couple more upvotes. So let's just get 5 more upvotes and get this to 40, and then we're going to wrap this one up. SC says, my theory is DM called her friends over to get their evidence because she was worried she could get in trouble for not calling 911 during the night, and her friends convinced her to call. All right. Because one of them could have saved, and she was scared. All right, so we got search. All right, so we're at search warrant 1 on the 23rd, specific to Bryan Kohberger, granted review historical phone records of only between 11:12:22 a.m. through 11:14:22 12 a.m. Search warrant 2, we have Pennsylvania agents recover the trash from Kohberger's family's residence located in Albrights, Pennsylvania, and send it to the Ohio State lab for testing. On the 28th of December, Ohio State lab reports that a DNA profile obtained from the trash and the DNA profile obtained from the sheath identified a male as not being excluded as the biological father of the suspect's profile. Now you have a motion to seal for a search warrant of Washington is filed, probable cause order and warrant arrest for Bryan Kohberger signed. The DNA. It's the DNA. It's the DNA. That's the smoking gun. SC $4.99 super chat. She's upvoted and subscribed. SC, thank you so much. You got a bell on that one. BC says, nice, let's go. SC Teresa says, thank you for supporting the stream. No, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Leah says, Lana of Truth and Transparency is starting a live. She is the one that had Justin show up on her live the other night. I was there. When this ends, come there. Opinionated, come there too when you're done. Leah, I appreciate it, but I got to work in the morning really early. I get up at about 5 o'clock. I go to the gym, do my business, but I'll probably watch it on an after show. I got to be honest with you. I don't really watch a lot of the other true crime channels, and I'll tell you why. I like to give my own clear perspective. I don't want to be clouded by other I don't want to be clouded by other videos or other topics or other ways that people are talking about this information on their channel. I do watch some of it, but I'm not, you know what I mean? I have like kind of my own material to do here. So I don't want to pull cues, I guess, from that. I want to be organic in what I do here. I watch Lana. I've checked her out. I like the Drunk Turkeys. Those guys are great. I'd love to have them come over here sometime on my show. I'm probably going to reach out to them at some point and have them come over and hang out here and do, maybe a little show with me here because I love their point of view. They're really good guys. And believe it or not, I did a call-in on one of their shows a couple months back. She said, we're divided there about Bryan too, but more think he's innocent and law enforcement is corrupt. Yeah, I mean, that's the issue that I have. I really don't see the vested interest of law enforcement going over and just murdering 4 kids in the middle of the night and go, yep, we're just going to plan it on this guy over here. I just don't see that. $5 super chat from BC. We'll give him a bell on that one. Thank you so much, BC. You have been a loyal supporter of the show. He was actually one of my callers. And Leah says, that's a good way to be. You're right. I totally respect that. Yeah, you got to kind of have your own perspective on things. I could watch something and I don't want to do other people's material. I want to do my own stuff. But I love all those people. If they ever wanted to reach out to me and do a show, I'd have them on, of course. But yeah, I think the thing the people that I'd like to get over first, if I ever had anybody on my channel, would be probably the drunk turkey guys, because I seem to kind of align with them a little bit. It's kind of more my style. Yeah, O'Brien loves the drunk turkeys too. They're good. And Leah says she likes them too. Yeah. And she goes, they think Bryan is guilty. Yeah, they do. They think they tend to side where I side with this. All right, let's do a few more minutes here, and then I'm going to wrap up the show because I do have to get to bed, and I got a long day ahead of me tomorrow as well. So, let's see. I just wanted to skip ahead here. Pennsylvania serve arrest warrant for Allsbright, Pennsylvania, for Bryan Kohberger. Multiple unmarked law enforcement vehicles seen in front of Kohberger's Washington apartment. So they basically were courting that off as well. Law and order. Order appointment public defender filed. I mean, this was a huge day on the 30th. Motion to preserve crime scene and evidence filed. Celebration of life for Kaylee and Madison at Lake Church. Order to preserve crime scene evidence signed by Judge Megan Marshall. Application for search warrant in Washington sealed. So basically, it just kind of leads us up to where we are now. I want to see. It doesn't say anything about when and right here. This is what I want to see. On the 28th, Ohio lab reports that a DNA profile. Okay, on the sheath. Yeah, I read through that. So that's basically it, guys. I just wanted to go over the timeline again. Listen, I feel, in my opinion, here on this channel right now, until I can see maybe another article or some other evidence comes up or someone comes forward, to me, the evidence is very, very strong. That's how I feel. And it's okay, because we all have opinions on this channel. We all have opinions on this panel. We can all fight, have a friendly fight about it. Why not? That's why, we have the chat here. We have the phone lines that can open up. And if any of you ever want to call in, the phone lines are always open, 774-855-9400. And you guys can call in and we can go through it. But it's getting late here on the East Coast. It's about 10:34 p.m. I think I'm going to wrap up the show here this evening. I appreciate everybody that has stopped by. I appreciate all the new subscribers that have popped over on the channel. The best thing that I can say to all of you, if you want this channel to grow, obviously I have to put great material out there, but you as fans, you as subscribers to this channel, just need you to do a couple things. Subscribe, turn on the bell notification. Every single time I go live, it'll give you, a half an hour heads up that I'm going to go live. If you can join, that's great. If you can't, watch it back on a replay and give these videos thumbs up, or any of the videos that I put out there, give them thumbs up. That's going to keep pushing this channel out into that algorithm for this to grow. And I want it to grow, and I want to grow with all of you guys. So that's probably going to end the show for this evening. I appreciate all the brand new faces here in the chat, all my moderators so far. Keep coming over here. If you show your face up here on a more regular basis, you're gonna earn a wrench. You're gonna be a moderator. You're gonna be one of the top, the top team members here, and we really appreciate it. And this was really fun. This was probably one of my best shows this evening since doing this, and the channel's definitely growing. It's a lot of fun. It's almost putting a little pressure on me now to perform, but it's been a lot of fun. And listen, I know people get mad at my lighthearted approach about this, but this is, it's who I am. I laugh, I smile. I know this is not, a funny thing to talk about. I take it very serious. I have respect for the victims, the families, the people that are going to affect it. And the thing that you have to think about this, with a tragedy like this, I've been through this stuff. My brother committed suicide a few years ago, and it does just something like that, breaks families apart, breaks relationships apart. You do the who, what, whys, and wheres. It's divided my family. I've had a very good friend of mine when I was a teenager was murdered. I've been through that. So I've been through this stuff. It's not easy, and I can only imagine what these families are going through right now. And, seeing some of the interviews of the Gonsalves family, you know, her mother and father saying that it's not easy. And you may see some divorces out of this, and you may see separation. And I'm sure there's a lot of blame game going on in a lot of these families right now. It not only affects the victims' families, but it affects their friends. It affects, people in the area. That community will always be affected by this. So we want justice in this case. Either it's going to be Kohberger that goes to jail, or if he's innocent, then hopefully we find the people that are responsible for this. I will continue to report on it. I will continue to talk about it until we have someone permanently behind bars that have done this. So, thank you so much. I see everybody in the chat. I'm going to end the show this evening, but we will do this again soon. Let me just look at my calendar here. I'm busy the next 2 nights. Probably going to do, now that I have my audience here, what is the best nights for you guys? I'd like to do 2, maybe 3 nights. Is Sunday, Wednesday good for you? Is Monday, Wednesday good for you? I know Wednesday night is usually, this has been probably my best night streaming. But if you guys can tell me like Sunday, Wednesday, Monday, Wednesday, because I put that out on the community tab, but I just need you guys to interact with it. Let me just throw it out there real quick. Do you like Sunday, Wednesday, or do you like Monday, Wednesday? 9 p.m., 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So Supernatural likes Wednesday. That's an awesome name, by the way. Supernatural beings of Earth studying and tracking. I love that. That's really cool. So I want to try to do 2 nights a week. 2 nights a week. Sunday, Wednesday. Does that sound good? SC likes Sunday, Wednesday. Perfect. Sunday, Wednesday. Do you like 8 p.m. or 9 p.m.? The later show is better for you, or the earlier show? Nighttime is good for me. So late. Okay. Well, Brian sent me a super sticker. I appreciate that. Give him a bell for that one there. Appreciate the chat. I'm in Eastern time. Perfect. So maybe the 9 o'clock. Okay. Sunday. Okay. Perfect. We got it. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sunday, Wednesday. And, I may, as he says, 9 p.m. Eastern, the toddler is asleep. Perfect. 8 p.m. Lay likes 8 p.m. Nice to be retired. I can do anything, Dr. Bob says. 9 Eastern is better. Perfect. Okay. Then I'm done with my stuff. Perfect. Chris, awesome. So, good stuff. You guys are awesome. I love all you guys. Thanks for watching this evening. It's been a lot of fun. Everybody go get some sleep or tune into the other channels that you all love. Make sure to tell all your friends and family, share this content, tell them about Opinionated Idiot, have them come over here. Not only going to keep talking crime, I may do some political stuff. I might do some rants. It's going to be kind of a mixed bag, but we'll see how you guys all respond to it. I do know I have a show that I do want to plan and talk about what's going on in East Palestine, Ohio. You all need to turn your attention to that. There's a lot of shit going on over there, and these people need help. And I'll tell you, if I was a full-time YouTuber right now, I would be there helping. I just don't have that capability. But, it's really sad what's going on over there. And it's really bothered me. But maybe that's something we can talk about on a later show. Let's get to these really quick. Love the handle. Great show. Thank you so much. Evenings are great anytime for me, but thank you for tonight's show. In my opinion, this channel will get big very quickly. The only way it's going to get big is that if you guys continue to come over, support the videos, click those upvotes, comment, because that pushes everything out into this algorithm and it will grow this channel. Lee says, you're not opinionated. You're opinionated, but you're not an idiot. Yeah, it's a little bit of a pun. It's a little bit of a pun. Oh, you know, you hear that idiot? He's just so opinionated. That's kind of where I got it. So let's do this. You've been super, super interactive. Boom. Gave you a wrench. Lee's now a moderator over here as well. Thank you so much. SC says, see you on the next live. Also love you're talking about Ohio because it's news that's not been reported. So I am in the northern area, if that's what you're asking. Yeah. So we need to talk more about Ohio. It's very, very important what's going on over there. But anyway, guys, I got to go. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. I'm going to download this and re-upload this show in a couple of days. So if you guys want to go back and replay it, you can do that as well. And I will see you guys on the next show. I love all you all. Get some sleep, get well. If you're sick, get some rest. If you're not, have fun, party, whatever you guys do. I'll see you guys all on the next one. Make sure to look out for the notification because I'll put it up there. Interact and hit the when they pop up, just hit the notify button, and then you guys can come in and watch the live show. Good night, everybody. Have a great night. I will see you all soon. Bye.